agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside
Live.
Yes, greetings and welcome to the Everything Agriculture. Go ahead, Yahsonn.
Global greetings, everyone. Global greetings, Oli. Global greetings, universe, wherever you are around the world. You're in tune to another edition of Everything Agriculture with your host, Ras Banky, Ras Shabazz Banky King, and Yahsonn Tafari. And we have a special guest this evening. But before we do, we're going to let Banky also do his introduction. And Banky, and before we even let the guests in, and know that you got to give us a little piece of the Mango Festival experience in your introduction. So I'm looking forward to a little bit of that, and then we introduce our guests and get into our special edition of Everything Agriculture this evening.
Yes, good evening, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. If you're a first-time listener, my name is Banky. I'm the host, and also my other host, Yahsonn Tafari. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a Friday evening. You guys could be doing anything else except listening to this show. So it means that you have an interest when it comes to the agricultural sector. So we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, so let me say good evening to the folks in Oli and Liamega, which is the ancestral name for St. Kitts and Nevis. So hopefully one of these days we get all the legal documents, everything back in the ancestral name, which is very important to us. So good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Sabre, Statia, St. Barts, the U.S. Virgin Islands and the BVI, also the folks over in Montserrat. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in Antigua and Barbuda, the folks over in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the whole Windward and Leeward Islands, also the folks in the diaspora, North America, from the Florida Keys up to Alaska, Canada, also the folks over in Europe. I know it's a different time zone, but you guys still sticking with us. And Yahsonn also, Evan Jeffers, she passed away, and to the other side, and want to send condolences to her family out there in the UK, because that's an ardent listener over the years since we started the show. She stayed up and she also introduced her other friends to listen to the show. So just want to send my condolences to our family and that we are all grieving with you the same way. So also the folks over in Asia, Africa, wherever you're to the sound of my voice, good evening, good afternoon, whichever is appropriate. Thanks for sticking with us and listening to the Everything Agriculture Show. Yes, on Thursday started the Mango and Food Festival, which started from the 4th to the 6th. So yesterday was the opening, and then today was the Mango Fiesta, where you have Togawa. You name one side, every other side Julia, versus different varieties of mango. Then you have the mango eating competition. Then you have the mixologist competition also. Then you had a demonstration with a master chef for people who paid so they could cook a dish. So, but today was fun. Met a lot of people. Met people from a lot of people from Kenya and Botswana and different places in Africa. People from India. I mean, just all kind of people. Is something I enjoyed doing over the years. The mango tasting. Cause people when they come to come to the mango festival, they want to see mangoes, and there are people who enjoy eating mangoes, so they come to look mangoes. So today, from the start to finish, as usual, the busy people, the young, all age people came over from St. Kitts. So today was a big hit. So I just want to send kudos to the same authority and tourism department. Fian Jones, you have all other staff, Cavell, along with Julie and her and the other staff that is there, and Mr. John Hanley, the PS. Wonderful job, and also the venue by Brenta. Your Brenta, which is Rodney's nurseries over at Cades Bay. Small space, but everything fit nice and secluded. I loved it, so I want to big up Rodney, designer of his nursery, and with the private fence with he used those with the type of the black wood, or we use it for fencing and stuff like that. Beautiful done, beautiful, perfect environment. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they chose the venue next year. I've defined the next farm in that kind of setting. So the farm vibes and garden setting, it was very nice. So I just want to big up Rodney and allowing them to partner with them for using his space and stuff like that. So it was a beautiful thing. I already let Rodney know that personally this afternoon. And also big up Janty, Bobops, and the grill with the roast can, and the barbecue chicken and the kind of vibes and so forth. And also the other vendors who was there, Cavell Mills, I mean, with her craft, she's a seamstress. And then you have Shabana with her natural ingredients, with her homemade stuff from like coconut oil and stuff that are repellent, natural balms, hair products, and just stuff for females and all. And also had some few other vendors. So mostly it was a beautiful day, and everyone who attended it definitely looking forward coming back to also to visit the farm, because some want to visit the farm also, and some definitely going to be coming up over Sunday to look for more mango. So it was a beautiful day, Yahsonn. So I mean, you'll hear like I send you a few pictures and stuff like that. So all who was there, those who missed out, they really missed something big, because this year was very, very exciting and stuff like that. So it was really, really fun.
Yeah, man, give thanks. Well, I'm really happy to hear that, King. It's it's going to be one of the bigger activities on the island, and I'm loving the energy that I'm feeling right now. We are utilizing a lot of the fruits and veggies around us in terms of promoting the island and the culture in relation to recently we would have had the breadfruit festival, and then we would have had the bread nut affair, which seemed to be a success as well. And now we're having the Mango Festival here on Nevis, which is seemingly, by all reports so far, is going down well as well, and is also well spoken about. Because when I talk to people, sorry, even people in America, they are aware of the fact that there is this Mango Festival in the Caribbean. So it is something for us to really continue to promote and develop, and especially with the threat of food security, and I dare say I take it a little further and say food sovereignty, because you could be food secured, but not necessarily in control of your food. And we're in a situation where, if you're not paying closer attention, a lot of what we're thinking is food is not necessarily food either, because a lot of those who are in control of the food that many of us consume are seeking to find alternate ways of creating that which we eat, and are altering that which we eat with the intent to alter our genes and our natural genetic makeup. And so there are a lot of things that we have to pay attention to and pay closer attention to as we trod through what we call life in these times. And there's a lot of things that we would have thrown away from what we call the past and our history and so on, because we want to be quote unquote modern and modernize. So a lot of what we deemed our ancient cultures and practices and traditions have sort of just moved away. Now, one of the reasons that we are having this special edition of Everything is in such light, because there is that distant connection in terms of our roots, especially for us in who happen to these parts of the world, who happen to be in the Caribbean and spread out through a lot of the diasporian region. I speak more so for us in the Caribbean, because um, a lot of what happened to our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, even though to some extent it happened on the mainland, the severity to us in the Caribbean was and is a lot more detrimental, because, like I keep saying, in our case, a lot of what our foreparents may have brought with them from Al Cable Land or from Africa, if they were not a part of the quote unquote indigenous Moors and the ancient Taino and other people who were here before even Columbus came, a lot of those who came during that time, everything was stripped away. Your original names, your original languages, your original way of spirituality, everything was taken from you. Your food, everything was taken away. And so what we have in the Caribbean is then a people who was then fed a culture and a way of life through people who oppressed them, and who all sole purpose and intent was and is to still keep them suppressed. And so you had a case where it was a lot of rebellion in terms of getting the shackles off of the hands and feet, but those who sought to maintain the shackles on the hands and feet focused strategically on keeping the shackles on the brain, on the mind. And so part of that was through the psychology of religion and teaching us education and even history from the captor's perspective. So everything we get was from the Eurocentric mindset. And we were not given an opportunity, so to speak, by design, as we can see, to seek to get reconnected to our ancient teachings and practices. You find in these times, look at where we are geographically. If we want to get to Africa right now, we have to go through some European territory to get to Africa. And geographically, it is closer to fly directly from a Caribbean island to get into Ghana and Nigeria, one of those territories. But by design, we have a set of people who have designed it that we have to go through them, because they want to make it even more difficult and even more challenging for us to reconnect. In terms of trade, they made sure that they come and seek to get the raw materials. They want the potato, they want the avocado, they want the cocoa, they want the whatever. And they want to take it in their territory and process it. We shouldn't get the machinery to process. We shouldn't be equipped that we could add value to whatever we have. The diamond, the other minerals that they're taking, they refine it. The oil, they want to refine it. We shouldn't have the equipment to refine it. So we should always be dependent and or be paying them back. Now, it is very important in these times for us to understand, as Marcus Garvey would have once said, a people without a knowledge of their past is likened to a tree without roots. And so if we really and truly do not overstand, as we would say within Rastafari, understand where we are coming from, we wouldn't really have a true picture of where we are today and where we need to go tomorrow. And it is within that concept and that frame of mind that we have with us this evening Igbo Chief Chucky Wamika, who is with us
Chukwemeka.
live from Chuku from Nigeria, who is going to share with us tonight a bit of the Igbo culture and its connections to the Caribbean, because there is that link. And a lot of, because as we're talking about the fact that it was designed and planned for us to not to connect, that for us to know some of this history and some of how we are connected to the Igbo group. And so we're going to learn a little bit about the Igbo culture and how some of it is still remnant and how it is relevant in the Caribbean space. And we want to be able to afford our listeners and those who are following, whether on YouTube, Twitch TV, Facebook, feel free to pop the questions in on the wall. And if there's anything that you want to ask, the number to call in is 1-869-662-7196. That's 1-869-662-7196. That is if you want to call in and if you maybe want to ask a question, or if you want clarification on any issue, or if you want to put a point on the table, we're open for that. But we want to take this time to give the chief an opportunity to share with us. We're honored to have you in our presence, my brother, and for us to get a direct connection. And Banky, also, you're free to ask any question, during the presentation and or any of the, the other listeners. So with that said, Chief, I'm going to let you, come in, give an introduction. And as you do your presentation, if there's any, question or anything that I would want clarity on, that's how we're going to work it. So just feel free to share with us and a bit of the Igbo culture and its connection to the Caribbean.
Wonderful. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Mr. Tafari, and thank you, brother. I mean, we might be having difficulties with the names, but then, first of all, I will introduce myself the way I want the world to know and address me. My name is Chief Chukwemeka Ndokaku. I'm from the eastern parts, otherwise known as the Igbo people. I am from the Igbo tribe, the Igbo ethnic identity. The Igbo people are found in Nigeria, in the eastern part of Nigeria, the West Africa. And I go by the title also Ujimba. This is an Igbo language. It means the traveler, the traveler. And also Anyanwu Idueri, which means the sun, the sunlight of Idueri Kingdom, and by extension, the Igbo land. I am the convener of the movement Unify Igbos Now, Unify Igbos now is a global movement that is designed to connect the Igbo people, no matter where they are. The Igbo people in Nigeria, the Igbo people in that are scattered all over the world, in Africa, in Caribbean, and the rest of the world. Because the Igbo people are unique people. Well, one of the topics that I will be sharing with you here and to the rest of the world, to the people, our guests, our audience who are everywhere listening today and watching, is the Igbo cosmology and the Igbo identity, which you, my brothers, can trace, or you have something similar, if not by any other thing, but the DNA does not lie. I will talk about I will also talk about the ties between Ndibo and the Caribbean people, which is dated long time ago. We will not talk about the Igbo relationship with the Caribbeans without making emphasis on the almost or more than 400 years of slavery. 400 years is a donkey years. So we will be talking about that. That's how we'll be entertaining any question that will be coming from anywhere concerning this. So, but before that, let's talk about, let's go to the Igbo worldview. The Igbo, uh, in Igbo, our worldview is part of, the supreme God, which is Chukwu Okike, which, well, my name, all our names are connected to God, the central God, the Almighty, Chukwu, the Almighty God, Chi Ukwu, Chi Ukwu, that is the Almighty God. We understand, we are also aware that there are other gods, but the one mighty is Chi Ukwu. Chi is God. Chi is God. Ukwu is the big one. Big. Ukwu, big. So now, name is Chukwuemeka, which can be translated into words, the big God has done wonderful. In Igbo culture, you will find names like Chukwebuka, which is the big God is the biggest. You can find Chukwujebere, which means the big God, the God Almighty. God Almighty is merciful. Chukwuamaka, God Almighty is the best, is the finest, and so on and so forth. So, talking about this, that is part of the Igbo culture, and we also understand there are lesser deities. Lesser deities are like angels that God, works with. So, but then this is the spirituality. The Igbo spirituality is anchored on God, the Almighty God, the God. So, having known this, the political meanings to this, which will be explained to, means that the Igbo man is like, we believe that we are next to God, not that we are equal, but we are gods on our own. We are God. We are part of the lesser God, and while referencing God Almighty. You understand that?
Yes.
So now this is the part. Now let's talk about the cultural. Let's talk about the cultural and how we here are related with our brothers in the Caribbean.
Right.
in the beginning. Talk about this relationship. We're making references to trans-slave trade.
Yes.
The 700s that ended in the 1900s. That is, sorry, in the 1500s that ended in the hundreds. This is, I mean, a span of about 400 years plus. 400 years plus. So there are some evidence, there are some documents out there, the libraries and everywhere that's detailed. Ndi Igbo people were the most sorted slaves. Then they were called the Igbos. Some called the Igbos. Some can pronounce it as the Abos, but they are one people, the Igbos. So these slaves were sorted here and were distributed in the plantations by the slave masters. So I'm trying to touch on this so that we can have a broader knowledge of where we are coming from. And note, I'm not saying that it's only the Igbo people that were transported here, but they were one of the largest numbers because, according to history, they were the finest. These were shipped to the Caribbean, to the Americas, to the plantation sites. When you were saying that your names, your languages, your original languages were distorted, this was this time that I'm talking about was during that era, because the slaves were like regarded as tools, labor machines, so they didn't be allowed to learn, to retain, carry on their identity. This is simple. So the man in St. Kitts, the man in the Jamaica, the man in Haiti can be connected by one DNA, which connects us down here. So now our mission is to connect these dots, because irrespective why we still, if we are confirmed that we share the same DNA and we are still existing here, we are still here carrying the same spiritual force, carrying the same identity with you. The language might have been distorted and changed, but that should not by any means separate us, because that DNA, the reason why you think you process information the way you process, the reason why you think in a certain way, the way you value life, the way your worldview can be traced to the same. It is important that we begin these conversations of reconnecting through our spirituality, and from there we can form a better and a formidable identity using the original, which is what we have here. So now I want to take us to I want to take us to the Igbo cosmology, which still has to do with the supreme God, the creator, as the central. It is central to Igbo spirituality. I want to lay emphasis on this, because that is what the Igbo man is not an Igbo man without his spirituality. That means you can't be an Igbo man without your spirituality, what you reverence. Yeah, I remember Tafari, some time ago we had a meeting and I told you that Ndibo has been a civilized nation. We have been civilized before the advent of the colonial masters because we developed our philosophy. We developed we have our spirituality. We have everything that even our writings, our calendar, our own calendar, our own days. There is a noise in the background. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know. It is really, but I can still override that. Now, talking about this
Yahsonn,
civilization.
you have a feedback.
Okay. Hello. Can I continue? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
continue. I paused my mic. In the meantime.
Okay. Pause. All right. So, the spirit world, a realm of ancestors. So I was telling you, I didn't mean to digress. Now, talking about the civilization, we have our weekdays, which is 4 days. The Gregorian that gives 7 days a week, some to 31 days a month. But the Igbo civilization has it that we have 4 days in a week, which is Eke, Ori, Afo, and Nkwo. Eke, Ori, Afo, and Nkwo. This is very, very important for you to note. Eke, Ori, Afo, and Nkwo. We have our writing. We have our alphabets. Like, you have the Arabic, the Arabians. You have the Chinese writing. You have the Ethiopians. The Igbo man has the Nsibidi. I will share some of that images with you on your WhatsApp later on. Maybe after the program, you can study and maybe make reference to. But then, so the Igbos, these are looked. We didn't need the white man to teach us God. We already know God. Like, we already know that there is a supreme being before the advent of the colonials, before the transatlantic slave trade. So we already have this information. So we already know this. You get it? So now, let me now come back to Eke Ori Afandungwo and how it is connected to everything that we do as a people. The Igbo man believes in markets. We in each of our markets, we have the Eke market day, the Ori market day, the Afo market day, the Nkwo market day. In each of these markets, we have what we call in our cosmology, what we call the lesser gods to be compared, as in that we don't compare them with the Almighty God, no. But these spirit beings controls these markets, depending on what clan or what community or what village. This every 4 days, we have each day set aside. If it is the Eke day, if it is the Ori day, if it is the Afo day, if it is the Nkwo day. Now, giving relevance and reverences to this deities that controls these markets. But I'll tell you one thing. The first thing the colonial masters did was try to destroy these markets. Because when they penetrated into the Igbo land, or the first thing, destroying our markets and planting churches in each of these markets. But this is a topic for another day, because this has to do with deep spiritual understanding. It has to deal with deeper spiritual understanding. Okay, so now talking about coming back to the Igbo culture and how you're related with the Caribbean brothers. I'll say this: the Igbo culture is rich, is a culture. I mean, that is rich with the real and the original fibers of the Igbos. We do, just like you do the Mango Festival, we do Yam Festival. Yam Festival. This comes
Interesting.
once every year. It comes once every year. So we celebrate this day with music, with festivals like dances, concerts, and by thanking God of Yam, the Ahiajoku. We call it the Ahiajoku. Some in our dialects call it Ifajoku, some call it Ihejoku, but it is Njoku, Joku, that is hot yam, the God of Yam. Giving thanks to the God of Yam that has made the planting season to be fruitful. Because in the Igbo cosmology, the yam is the king of all staple crops. Yam, yam. So here we reverence it as the king of all staple crops. So once in every year, we celebrate dancing in our masquerade, which is called Mau. The masquerade, which is called Mau, with other concerts, depending on which clan you belong to. This is the one of the Igbo cultures. Now talking about culture, the Igbo man believes in circumcision. Circumcision. When a male child is born in a family, after 8 days, we circumcise. You can research on other cultures that practices this. I think the Jews practices this, and other cultures too. But the Igbo, it is very, very important that on the 8th day, the male child will be circumcised. It is a must for the Igbo people. A must. So our culture reflects in our food, it reflects in our environment, in our sanitation, it reflects in how we marry. The Igbo man we believe that marriage is not just about two people. It's a connection of two families coming together and exchanging what we call bride price from the groom. That is important. Without that exchange, it comes in monetary aspects and other materials that has to do with earth and something from the earth and other materials, drinks, as the case may be. But the most significant part of the Igbo marriage is the bride price that is exchanged. From the groom to the parent of the bride. And if by any chance in the future that marriage won't hold, maybe you say the divorce, that particular dowry, it is called dowry, will be returned. That is the solution. That means that that marriage has come to an end. But during the marriage, that bride price, that dowry must be paid. It can be any amount. There's no specific amount. There is no specific amount. So these are one of the rich components of the Igbo culture that one cannot deny, that one cannot wish away, that makes Ndi Igbo more of spiritual people than anything. Now, coming to politics, we have our model of politics. We are a people that believes, in fact, it has been argued that democracy started from the Igbo land, because we power in communal powers or politics or rulership, it rests on the eldest, which we call in our language Opala or Opara or Opara, just, but it is same thing. The Oparuku, or the Oparuku, that is the biggest, the most the eldest son of the family holds the Ofo. I'll come to Ofo after now. What Ofo means. Ofo is a scepter, a symbol of authority. Each family has an Ofo, that scepter. Each family in Igbo culture has an Ofo, which is a scepter, a symbol of authority. So our part rests on the mantle of leadership, not rulership. Leadership rests on the Obala, the firstborn child, the first male child of every family. It is transferable, but after the demise of the holder, of the offer holder, it rests on the shoulders of the next elderly. Now, the elderly does not take the decision alone or take the decision that concerns the family. He consults. We agree by one man, one vote. This has been there ages, years, millions of years. Nobody can tell this is where this started. Nobody alive today can say this is where we started as a people, that this is what formed this. No, it has been there. So the scepter of authority dwells firmly on the Obala. Only on his demise shall that scepter be transferred to the next person.
So the scepter is a physical. The scepter is a physical symbol. Like some, it's like
Yes,
what is it?
Yes, is a physical. Is a some family. Yes, a lot of family has the physical. Sometimes it is spiritual, but mostly it's physical because it's it's a wooden. It's a wooden thing. There is what we call the offer tree. That is the offer tree that can be carved. But after some rituals, yeah, it can be carved and be given to whom should hold it. So that was, now I will now go back to why it was difficult for the British to have a direct rule in in our affairs as the Igbo people that made them have the British that really got into their nerves. We fought them for so many years. The Ekumeku, they couldn't penetrate just like that. No, because like I said, we have been civilized. We have been producing our own weapon for our own defense. We have an army, which is the
Right.
Ekumeku. The Ekumeku is like a cult. That is, I will see come to them. Maybe not tonight, maybe in another program. But then the offer rests on the shoulder firmly of the Obaruku, which is the first male child. Now, but he does not take decision like an autocratic person or a tyrant. No, it is democratical. British couldn't have a direct because we don't have a chief or a king who presides over nobody questions. No, we are a democratic people. No king presides over the whole people. This is he decrees. No king decrees for Ndigo. Ndigo decrees in their own family units. That is where the Ofo comes in. That is where the Obaruku comes in. Okay, so now, when the British came, they couldn't have an influential that is above every other person in order to give their direct orders, and the king carries it out. It works in the other regions that are not Igbo people, like the Yorubas, that is the Western Nigeria. It worked in the Northern Nigeria, the Hausa, the Fulani. It worked there because they have a central king, they have a ballet, they have emirs who the British will give maybe a rule or an order, and they will pass it, and nobody questions. The Igbo man does not do that. The Igbo man believes that he's a king in his own house. Like if in my own family, I am the man. I have a wife. I have my children. I am king there. So I take decisions there. I make laws there. But when I come out in my community, we deliberate. If this is okay for the family or for the community, we will vote. I agree. If the people that does not agree are more, that will not be a law. That we will not carry out that. That is the Igbo man. Do you see now? We are more of an egalitarian people, in fact. That is the right word. An egalitarian people. Nobody imposes on another man. The only name that reigns supreme in the life or in the consciousness of the Igbo people is God, Supreme God, Almighty God. Outside that, nobody. But because we respect authorities too, we respect he who holds the offer. Because, okay, I will tell you just one or two things that the offer does. The scepter of authority. It is used to seal decrees. And anybody that goes against that decision that has been taken, that has been agreed and sealed with an offer by hitting it on the ground like 3 times or 4 times, depending on anybody that goes against it will certainly meet some punishments, not spiritual punishments, and maybe in some cases death or some incurable diseases, as the case may be. So when we agree in a family, when we agree that this is law for us, we seal it with an offer. The Igbo man must seal it with an offer, meaning agreements by every person. Agreements. You see how spiritual that is, and do you see how spiritual the Igbo man is? So there is no Igbo man without his spirituality. I've not even talked about the king.
Chief, let me come in. Let me come in here.
Okay.
Yes, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. Greatly appreciate you taking the time coming out and this evening and bringing that information about your culture and stuff like that. But Yahsonn, as you realize, what the chief is speaking of is embedded in every one of us. You see what I mean? What the chief is speaking is nothing new to us. We all within the Federation of Oli and Lion Mega are seeing its navies stretching through the neighboring islands that I mentioned, Montshot, Sabre Station, wherever we at. This is us. We understand these things because many of us who only practice these things same way too. Because we all are part of the universe, we accept that. Everything carry vibration. The chair that I sit on, the clothes that I wear, the trees, everything carry energy and understand what we're all about. So we are just being taught not to know ourselves and know that we all are gods. Because the same text that they read of every day, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Islam, Hindu, whatever it is, they're still telling them, I'm a jealous God. If you're a God, you're not to be jealous of nobody. You need to be jealous, my virgin. Because we're supposed to know ourselves. But we are just in tune with a people without a culture who have taken your culture and twist it up and mess with your brain and have you living in fear and not understand everything within the environment, everything that you see within, as far as the eye can see, you are a part of that. And until we embrace these things here and know who we are, and know our true self, and know, because it's like this. It's like you'll be there thinking, meditating, vibes in, sending out your frequency, vibes in Yahsonn. And as you look, Yahsonn call or Yahsonn show up. And you start to say, boy, these are coincidence. These are nothing, because these words don't exist. And this is how I teach my youth, coincidence don't exist. Know yourself, know your true self. You see what I mean? No, because everything, and it's always okay to be different. That's something like being different, you know, me flex anyhow. Because being different means you're being real and true to yourself and you're living out your full potential. But when you're pretending and being a part of a system and want to be accepted, you're lying to yourself. You just want to fit in a society because a society might not speak how you want to speak of you, and that's not gonna make it right for you because you're still lying to yourself and never live out your full potential. So this is the issue. So everyone is just like we had the Christian disaster, and you know, I was said about it. Oh, a spirit come and sink the boat, and one ton of things. Them was coming to Nevis was coming from the voodoo man and did this and did that and wherever. We are being taught to hate ourselves and not to practice what who we are. It's just like I was mentioning when I traveled to Louisiana to Southern University, where the university is based, they have one of their flagship is the Haitian monument and flag because that's who they are in Louisiana. We are one people. But we do not want to accept these things. We just want to say, we're not, why am I not Africa? I'm about Africa. You see? That's all we want. It. But that's just being ignorant.
Well, you see, Banky,
you see?
That might be partial, but the other part of it was intentional. And so this is what the brother, this is why I am kind of keenly listening to the brother, because like you said, right, a lot of what he is saying is how we live and what we live. We live it like instinctly without really knowing where it came from or the origins. Now, what he is pointing out is that it is and was a part of their tradition and culture for all these years. And so and this is part of the issue. Like we feel these things and we experience these things. Like I remember a couple of years ago when Woody Meyer came to, I think he went to he was in Guyana or Jamaica. I think he was in Jamaica at the time. And he was in one of the communities. And the things that they were cooking and the way they prepare the food and certain things, he could have linked it and identified to certain groups in Africa. However, it's things that we do that is just like customs, but we don't really have that connection because a lot was stripped away from us. So what he's seeking to do is to seek to bring back that connection and show us that yes, you do it, and this is why you do it. You do it because it was already in a part of you. But as you're saying, we have lost ourselves, and to some extent, why I'm seeking to do this is because to some extent, it was not just it was not just that we lost ourselves. It was intentional for us to lose ourselves and not
Yes.
really find ourselves. And so then to hear from this brother now, who is
But
showing us where
Yahsonn,
this. Mhm.
we are just, I don't think we really lose ourselves, you know. The masses are just in denial, and they're just been taught to, if you don't pay your tithes, you don't do these things, you're going to hell. You see, these are the concepts. So you have a people being colluded into living in fear instead of not knowing their true self, and really you don't need a next person to come and tell you who you are when you are you are the ancient one. Why would I want any other race to come tell me who I am when I can look in the mirror and see who I am? I'm perfectly made.
Okay,
You're not gonna question
brother.
that? Yes, yes,
Excuse, brother. Let me come in. I really appreciate. I really appreciate you, and I am thankful to brother Tafari for understanding the where the angle that I'm coming from. You know, I am not looking at you as a person without culture, but I am trying to uh, still show you where I'm coming from. That we have the same. It's confirmed what I
of
want you to
course.
confirm that we're
Yes,
one people. We are
yes,
coming from one source. Now, what do? What my project is seeking is that connection. Make you understand. I want to understand. I want my people, our people to understand that we are one. We are one. We one. And that is Anamacho one name. Now, I'm speaking language. I don't know if you have any other language apart from English. English language. It is the language that you own that is not English. That is not English. Now, this is where I'm coming from. Origin, from the root. Telling you that Anamacho one name can be translated to I'm looking for my brother. Because these are my people. They left here. They left me here. I'm not saying that you are not original where you are, no, but there was a movement, and it's what we are trying to re-establish so that you can be free. Because I cannot tell, I can tell you categorically here that the Igbo nation needs unification for us to heal. You are not coming down to Igbo land to I mean, to leave. No, where you are staying is your land now. But we must begin to connect, have a good relationship, build ourselves. What is here? What can you pick up from here? What can we pick up from there? This is what the movement Anamacha one name seeks to identify. Seeks to. This is what Anamacha one name the movement seeks to unify people. This has been so many years, donkey years. But we, through DNA, through culture, learn about this ourselves. That we have a brother. That most people who are shipped out from here does not mean that we should disconnect. Maybe what's coming, like there are still pantheons here. There are still materials here that you can still connect with. So what my people are seeking, because even in Nigeria here, we have people who speaks a variety of dialects of the Igbo language that still denies they are not Ndi Igbo or Igbo, depending on what is convenient for you to pronounce it. So if we can have an orchestrated, a systematic balkanization of these people, there's something we are not picking. If people can sail from millions of miles, thousands of miles on the Atlantic Sea to arrive here just to distort our spirituality, distort our language, distort our identity. There is something there that we, for years now, we have not been able to pick up. And from the revelation, the movements Unify Igbos now, and is the right cause. So connecting with you, brother, connecting with all the people in the Caribbean, with the people that understands that homeland is calling. It is not first that you will visit here, but begin to make efforts, begin to set up communities. I'm telling you that right here in Nigeria, people that speaks the same language with us tends to deny that they're not from here, despite practicing the same culture, despite doing the same food, the same tradition, the same spirituality, but they still deny. What happened? Ask me what happened was there was a time after the Ekumeku War, there was a systematic organization of the Igbo people. Separate them, make them feel minute, them, divide them, rule them, and conquer them. So what we seek today is to connect with you through the Anamachawanim project. We have been doing this. We have been doing this locally here. All these people, and they are seeing the reasons why we all should come together as one people.
There were a couple of things that I wanted to ask a bit back in your presentation. You were saying that you were saying in the Igbo culture, because I know I've spoken to a lot of Nigerians, and one of the things that they say is very big in Nigeria is cassava. But I hear from you that in the Igbo culture, yam is more celebrated. So is it just more generally within the Igbo culture that yam is the one that is given that sort of value? And generally in Nigeria, in the entire Nigeria now, cassava is more like the main crop.
To the Igbo people, we don't celebrate cassava. Cassava is not even original to us. It is yam. It is only the Igbo people that celebrate yam. We call it G. G. So, and it is, in fact, it is only the Igbo people that celebrates yam as the king of staple crop. Only the Igbo people, yes. If that answers your question.
And you say that, every year there's a similar festival, a festival of yams.
Every year. This year will start up by August. That is next month. We will be celebrating yam. Different communities will put up a date. From September, from August, September to October to November. I can show you different celebrations. We will celebrate it. We'll be celebrating it.
Okay. Then there was another question I had. You spoke to only 4 days. You said that in your calendar there's only 4 days in the Igbo calendar, and you also mentioned for each one of the day, I think you were saying that there is a specific market day. Like each one of the market days, what is different about the market day? And is it like a sort of like a big, open thing where people have vendors and people selling all kind of different agro-processed products and honey and meat and so on. What is that like in terms of the market day?
Okay. The Igbo cosmology reverences markets, and we don't just reverence markets. We have deity for each of our markets that controls it, the energy that controls it. Okay, now let me mention it. It still reflects, just like you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, Saturdays. The Igbo has theirs four, which is Eke, Orie, Afo, and Nkwo. Eke, I repeat, Eke, Orie, Afo, and Nkwo. These 4 market days comes intervally. If today is Eke, tomorrow will be Ori, the next day will be Afo, the next will be Nkwo, and we count again. So 4 days in a week. So each day is a market, and in that market, people come with their commodities. It is normal market. It is market. But what is there is always an energy that is attached to each market day, the community, and they name it. It varies, different energies or different pantheons. It varies. And in each of these markets, you will find the shrine of this pantheon. Like in my own community, we have our market day, which is the Afo. And the pantheon there, the energy that controls that market, that particular market, is called the Nudo deity. Deity. It is undeniable. No Igbo man denies this. It has a ritual. Specific rituals, and has their own priests who does it. But the advent of the influx of the Christian faith has diminished most of this, but a lot of communities are still holding on to this heritage and the spirituality. So in the market, every market day, if it is the AK has its own energy that in each communities, in different communities, AK is AK everywhere around Igbo land. Everywhere. There can be AK today here and the other Igbo man in some communities away trading Ori. No, it's just Saturday is Saturday here, Saturday is Saturday. So we have the Ori Afwandungwo. And in every people come and do their businesses and live. It is the exchange of goods. And we believe that this energy controls these exchanges. So, if this answers your question.
Quite interesting. Yes. At least it expounds a little bit more on the day itself, the days itself, and some of the celebrations behind it. Okay, so apart from yam being the center of the Igbo culture, how is agriculture seen in that space? How do you deal with the
Okay.
agricultural company?
Um, we are mostly an agrarian people that we believe in the soil, believe in the earth, we believe in putting something in the earth and reaping from it.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we celebrate each planting season with, I mean, if the harvests are bountiful, we celebrate too. And that is coupled with the Ahyachoku or the Ifachoku, depending on how any community pronounces. Now, we celebrate the harvest on that New Year celebration day, celebrating our now. What you know what we regard or how we regard agriculture. We hold agriculture in a because a man that is not in control of what he eats is not living. So we take it serious, agriculture, because in every planting season, a community that owns lands will allocate lands. If it is family, if it is in family units, they allocate lands to people, to their family members, to their community members for each planting season. And you go, and we also observe, if this community has planted here this year, next year they will not plant here, they will not cultivate here, they will in this particular land, they will go to another, they will allocate another. In order, this helps you know more about agricultural languages and stuff, I don't know, to help that particular place replenish for that year, for the full year. They will not use here, they will use another place in order to help, so we believe in this. We have been practicing this from time,
Interesting.
knowing what crop to
That
be planted and when to plant it. We've been doing that for
and
centuries.
does would like the moon cycle and all that be a part of that planning in terms of when to plant and so on? Is that something that is
Come again.
followed in the practice? The moon, following the
Come again.
cycles of the moon. The
The
moon
moon.
cycle, following the
Yes.
cycle of the moon.
Yes. 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 In as much as I'm not much knowledgeable about this, so I will not be saying much about it because I'm not all that knowledgeable about the moon cycle. But I know that we observe the moon cycle for each planting season. That was why I told you
Okay, right.
sometimes what was planted here will be changed according to the moon, according to the season and stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
So yes, when you realize we both we do the same thing when it comes to
Yeah,
agriculture, plant out the moon, harvesting with the moon, and when after the full moon, before the full moon, we ain't gonna come. So we understand the weather. We are more accurate as the ancient one when it come to like here. We know when it's gonna rain because plus we know we can shift the energy and the vibration and rain gonna fall. So when they say it's gonna rain, 9900% most of the time, it's gonna rain because from you tap into yourself, you realize you can do miraculous stuff. But many of us just fear to be by yourself and to find your true self. And when you find your true self, it's a beautiful thing because nothing else matter. You see what I mean? Because then you
But you see,
understand the
Banky,
environment you're in, and yes,
and that's why I'm having this, as we say, true conversation, with the brother, because as I would have had conversations with him, I'm recognizing that yes, a lot of what is practiced within their culture as traditions and customs, some of it are things that we do, but we have not connected it to
of
anything other
course,
than things that we pick up from our foreparents. And because a lot of these things that we
yep,
talk about, the old fishermen them would not to when they're going fishing to work with the moon cycle. So it was not just even the planting, but it was also on the fishing side as well. Having
yeah, but
that,
your
and then
son. But what I'm
yes,
saying, we know it's our ancient, it's the ancestors bring it back from the motherland. We know that. We never dispute them things there. It's just that there are some who just reach a part of the status quo and just don't want to identify with that part no more. They just shut it out. But they know where all this thing come from. The fish. I mean, remember I grew up in a fishing and an agricultural sector where the same how you menu same fish net. If you go back to Nigeria or to say Morocco, where the hall in the same, are the same with the recommend this fish net, the fish net, You see what I mean? Wherever you go, it's the same way, same type of tool, everything. We know who we are as a people, but many are just because of what they've been taught in school and the negativity. They just hold on upon that and everything and what we live. We're watching a televised system where is based coming out from America, which is our negativity that they show you about in the ancient land, about who you are as a people, where flies in them out and this and that and malnourished. But we know better. We have come, we have surpassed these things. But it's just that so many still hold up on these things. You see? But they know better. I know they know better. Because when they walk, they speak, they cook every day. The ancient way, you know. Right now, my virgin here from Nigeria, he just come to for me on the farm because he say, by bank, you can cook some jollof rice tomorrow. No problem. Maybe me container. Because it's almost like you cook seasoned rice. But it's a lot more pepper, but they do it fresh with a lot of tomatoes and take time. But we know it's the same flavor, it's the same culture. It's just virgin, it's just years and years old people just have lost themselves many throughout the Caribbean and so forth. And it's just that St. Kitts Nevis here alone is just because of don't want to accept the true self. So many would never live their full potential in this realm. Never. They'll just live a lie. And then they pass on the same lie to the children. I speak to my children just how I speak here. Because it's important, because girls important, they know themselves. You see what I mean? And many in ancient cultures, in the African culture, especially the Ashanti, you see what I mean? And those tribes, a lot of them, the woman is the authoritative part where it's passed down, but they give the man the authority to rule. But then in other cultures, especially the Eurocentric culture, everything is male, 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 male. The woman is at a part of nothing. You see what I mean? And that's the sad thing about it. It's important. Men will never find themselves, you know, and that you can't change. But those who want to learn will seek knowledge and they'll find it. So you just got to check for those who will embrace this information and know who they are. Because we always know who we are. We know where you come from. Because you always hear me say, three things a man must know, you know. Who he are, where he come from, and his purpose. If you find those three things, you have done well. Because millions and billions never find them true selves. You see? Yeah, and that is your goal.
That's
Yes.
true. And then that is part of the journey that we are on here because, yeah, we know we won't get all, but there is a need right now in these times for us to seek to gather up as many as we can, especially with the momentum that we are seeing right now, that thrust to unite Africa and the continent, and then for us to really be that sixth nation, to be that other state, those of us who are in the diaspora. But before we can do that, we first have to make that reconnection in terms of some of these same things here, reconnecting with Igbo. If you know, there was a reasoning at one point, and it was said and I'm just using a figure, you know, it's not an actual figure. I'm just using a figure for ease of calculations and for, you know, the benefit of understanding where I'm coming from. But if 1 million people came across on the transatlantic slave trade, more than 500,000 were Igbo. So that is saying that almost half or even more than half of who would have been a part of the Caribbean ethnic group were a part of some Igbo culture. And so it means that that's why a lot of what we have amongst us still, we can relate to. So why not seek to get to the origin and get to find out more about the origin so you can better, you know, understand yourself and better understand not just that you do these things, but why and what are some of the significance behind these things. But before we get back into Chief Chuck, I'll go to one or two of the comments here and hail up some of the people on the wall. Ounce Irvin, greetings. He passed in a bit earlier. We have Tonita Zizi Almasihu saying the reconnection of brethren, great works. We have Denise passing through. Weston Daniel. Weston Daniel says it is a sound concept, tried and true, that the elders hold the leadership mantle. And I guess he was speaking when the chief was explaining how the authority is held within the Igbo culture and within the Igbo group. And it is quite interesting that, that is the way it is done. And as the brother here is pointing out, that it is a sound concept and it is tried and true. And as the brother would have said, that this is the way they lived for thousands of years, and they continue living this way. And so it is just for some of us to play catch up, and also to re-engineer the brain, because I think, Banky, sometimes we tend to overlook the efforts that were made at helping us not to reconnect or to connect with this sort of knowledge and this sort of truth. As you mentioned earlier, you were talking about Louisiana and the Haitian connection. But then look at how we have been taught or brainwashed to look at Haiti, even ourselves as an African people. Let's look at in the Caribbean. Look at how many of us have taken on the story or the narrative of the Americans or the Europeans in terms of the Haitians and how they live and why they're doing what they're doing, instead of taking the time to understand that this is people who are resistant to anything that is Western and is just seeking to hold on to their culture, because they were one of the first territories that were free and was a free state, and determined that wherever you are in the world as an African going through the struggle, Haiti was one of the places that you could have gotten to. As long as you gotten there, and they have been independent for 100 years, have started to kept up a lot of what the brethren here is speaking about in terms of the Igbo culture. And I guess as a result to some of it, because anything that is African would have been deemed, anything that's part of our culture, spiritual, would have been deemed demonic and bad and terrible and so on. And so in terms of the spirituality of the Haitians, it has been demonized, so to speak. So, you hear about voodoo, or you hear about voodoo and obia and so on, and it is looked upon as the worst thing in the world, because we were sought to get in line with Western Christianity, and that form of Christianity was used as a part of the indoctrination, as a part of the brainwashing, as a part of the psychological mess that we find ourselves in. And that is why for some it is so hard to change, because they realize, yes, these people were really spiritual people, and if we have to take the shackles off of their hands and feet, one of the ways that we can seek to manipulate them is to get into their spirituality, introducing some kind of religious concept that they may be able to, but does not necessarily align totally with them, right? And so you get them so caught up in this and believe in this that they would then now deny anything and even deny themselves. And that's part of what we are seeing in the Caribbean. And this is why having this true conversation is important, for us to have that sort of reconnection and begin to realize why we really need to pay a little bit more attention to this. We need to not take on the narrative and perspectives that have been given to us. Look at today. We see the efforts of people like Ibrahim Traore right now in Burkina Faso. But then we have our people over here who are in authoritative positions and so on, is seeking to fight what the brother is doing, because they claim it is not democratic, so to speak, and his leadership is not of democracy. But where we see democracy, really, the model of democracy, any really true success, so to speak, in the world. But we could see the success of some of these, what they call, quote unquote, revolutionary style leadership. That's how they dub it. So it is just for us to begin to really own up to. First learn, and then learn to appreciate what we have and what would have been tried and tested, as the brother said, some tried and true concepts that have been held up over the years. Why, if we are exposed to them? And the thing is, we can't try them though, if we are not familiar with them. We can't try them if we don't know about them. And so having the brother here is like the beginning of that, the beginning of starting this kind of conversation to see if this is something that we as a people are ready for and would have the interest in. And then the next phase would be for us to begin to have some scheduled Zoom meetings where we could have follow-up discussions on these things, and then we can eventually get into, structured um, lessons, so to speak, if you're really interested in learning the days and all of the different things about the culture. And then if you want to get into some of the spirituality and the rituals and so on, if later on we want to plan on a trip to visit Nigeria so that we can meet with some of the other chiefs and other groups and so on. These are things that I guess we would have to begin to plan amongst ourselves as we seek on that journey to reconnect with the motherland, as that is part of our plan, because that's one of the things that we are seeking to do. Even in these times in the Caribbean, recently the leader of Nigeria and a couple others were part of the OECS big meeting that they had. St. Kitts and Nevis government would have made some connections and to make some connections with Nigeria. So as we do these things, this kind of conversation and these sorts of connections is really critical. So, Chief, I am really grateful for the opportunity for you to come and seek to share as much as possible. And on the journey, seeking to not just continue to push it in Africa, but also seeing the need to embrace the Caribbean and seek to help to share it. Now, in your relationship with the Caribbean so far, I know you will be familiar with the Haitian community. Would you say
Yeah.
from your history, would you say from your history and research that the Haitians, so to speak, and some of their cultures and practices align with Igbo to show that, well, they probably originally Igbo people? And also another group that I want you to consider is the Maroon communities, like for example, that still exists in say Dominica and Jamaica. Um, how do you see, what do you know in terms of the alignment with Igbo practices based on what you know of them?
Okay. Again, I thank you, brother Tafari, for you have made it much easier for me on this program because you understand the vision that we carry here and where we, understand we connect. We seek to relocate the Caribbeans. We don't seek to relocate we seek to build a lasting bridge between us, between our communities, between the people. You learn what is here. We begin to bond. We begin to, form a new alliance within these regions, here to there to here. Thank you for that. So now talking about the Haitian origin to the Igbos. First of all, I will tell you that Haiti was one of the few countries that recognized we use the word, the breakaway nation. The only time the Igbo people tried to form a sovereignty, because we think we value, we love freedom. And we tried some 1967. From 1967, we fought a 3-year civil war here in Nigeria in order to a nation of our own, have a sovereign nation, the Igbo sovereign nation, which was called the state of Biafra. So now I will tell you that the Haitian people, the Haitian government recognize and they recognize the nation Biafra then. This goes a long way to tell you the ancestral ties that we have with the Haitian. It is not uh, it's not a hidden relationship. The Haitian people are not all, but a large number of people are originally the Igbos, and till today there are still festivals that connects them with Igbos. Most of them have come here. Some some of them visited here in Nigeria, in Enugu, identified, and they've been like I was absorbed by the Igbo community, given names, the Igbo names, and this also points to that fact that we have connection. The Haitian practice, they practice what the world calls juju, but juju is not. I mean, should not be seen as demonic. It is that same Igbo spirituality. The Haitians have this spiritual part in them that they can. I mean, it is believed that they can cause and they can bless spiritual things. You know, not just the spiritual parts, but the will to be free. The Igbo man does not uh, pain or tolerate suppression. It will rise up. If you want to suppress the Igbo man, he will fight. He rather die. The Igbo man rather die than become a slave. To point out to the Igbo landing, if you know that history, the Igbo landing. But talking about the Haitians, because of this same connection, this same Igbo roots, I think they were the first to rebel, to end their independence. Yeah, they are. And that is where we come, our nature comes to play. Okay, I will just go straight to this point now. Like the Haitians has a significant connections to the Igbo people of Nigeria, with many Haitians tracing their ancestry to land. Historical records shows that during the transatlantic slave trade, many Igbo people were forcibly taken to Haiti, then known as Saint Domingue, leaving a lasting impact on the island's culture, religion, and history. Some key evidence supporting the Igbo-Haitian connection includes Igbo phrase in Haitian culture. Haitians have a popular saying, Igbo pen koayo, meaning Igbos hang themselves, which refers to the Igbo people's resistance to slavery. Are you with me? Now, Igbo names and traditions bear Igbo names, such as Adanna. Adanna simply means the daughter of the father. The daughter, that is the first, every first female child in every Igbo family is Ada. Okay, yeah, which is first daughter, first daughter. It is common in our culture. So if the Haitians bear such names, that is what shows a people, what points, how can you identify a people? Through their language or through their culture and through their names. Now, influence on Haitian revolution. Some notable leaders of the Haitian revolution, including Toussaint Louverture and Henry Christophe, are believed to be of Igbo descent. Christophe, in particular, was a key figure in the revolution and later became the first king of the independent Haiti. So, like I just said here, this I'm reading from a history book. So, culture similarities. The Igbo people's cultural practices, and traditions have had a large impact on Haitian culture, including the influence of Igbo spirit on voodoo, the same voodoo, but it is pronounced like voodoo in Haitian, in Haiti, so to say. So I think with this, and like previously, that in 2022, some Haitians came down here to trace, and they found facts, and since then they have been coming. They have been coming. Most of them, they own lands here. They own lands here, which is a very important part. Land ownership is a very important part of culture of the Igbo people. We believe you cannot be an Igbo man without having a land. That we don't normally bury our dead in the cemeteries. We don't have that culture. It was imported by the missionaries. We own land. When you have a land, be it hereditary, be it you inherited the land, or you bought, or you owned it, or your name, that is where your loved ones. Land ownership is very important to the Igbo people. We don't bury in the cemetery. We bury in our family compounds or our land, so to make them feel at home. And we don't sell. There are lands we don't sell. There are lands we don't sell, family lands. You inherited from a father to a son. That son goes to be a father, has a son. He passes. This culture does not in any way support women, but because we don't give women such land, we give women lands, but we don't give women such land. I'm sorry for digressing, but I want to point on this, because sometimes I heard our brother saying that there are cultures that suppresses women's rights. No, this one does not women's rights, but rather it's because it is a family land. It cannot be transferred to a woman, because a woman can marry tomorrow into another family, and these ancestral lands will be transferred to family. So we don't do that. They can be given another land, but the family heritage, the land that is ancestrally connected to the forefathers or something like that, cannot be transferred to any family or to any person. So now, our culture, our relationship with the Haitians has been explained on this. They come here, they own lands here. Thank you.
Okay, the other part in terms of the Maroons in Dominica and Jamaica and so on. What is the connection with the Maroons and the Igbo people?
Okay, the Maroons are the ones that are found mostly in Jamaica. I will not speak much, because I am still studying that, but there has been, because in Jamaica we still have the same trace of the Igbo people on the and I think there are traces of the Igbo language that are found within the within this people. So, but I don't have so much. I don't have much knowledge yet about that. So I won't be speaking extensively until I'm done with my
So, what is the population of your people?
the Igbo people. Okay,
Yes.
it is estimated. We are estimated to be more than 80 million. But I'm not going by the Nigerian statistics, because
Yes.
At the time, it has been found to be fraudulent. Sorry, because we are a people. I mean, I would say we are an endangered people, and I think the system has been designed to work against us. The map has been designed to work against us, so we don't trust their census. We're using now. We're using some data collected from registrations like national identification numbers, what was registered in a particular place now. And let me tell you, the Igbo people have a large population in the diaspora. We are people who travels a lot. We are people in large numbers. You find the Igbo people everywhere in the world in large numbers. Everywhere. There's no country in the world that you will mention that you will not find the Igbo people. So people who travels out so much cannot be underestimated in terms of them. So from what we can gather, I will tell you within 80 million people worldwide.
Okay. I know earlier you mentioned that you all have your own system amongst you all self. So how do you all go about when it comes to crimes and different type of crimes? So how do you all police that?
Before I will tell you the traditional way,
Yes.
because if I must, if we talk about the Igbo, you will not separate the spiritual part of the Igbo person, of the Igbo man. So before now, we have a low crime rate because everything has to do with we everything has to do with the spiritual sense. We know that we have a society. My ancestors knew that there is a society. The society will metamorphose, and people will become rogue. People will become evil and do also. We have a way we police ourselves. That is the masquerades and what have you. The masquerades here. So and certain laws. There are things you don't do. Even when you do something and you were caught and you deny, you will be made to swear before a deity. So people like this cannot be. I mean, they are certainly a spiritual people. That if you know that you committed this crime and you ask to swear, and you still want to protect your crime without swearing, or you understand, or fine, or whatever, then you will be facing consequences. So this has been going from time, but we are living in a society where we now have police, we now have different law enforcement agencies that enforces laws, that prosecutes criminals, but crime is still there because people are not meant to go through the traditional. You get it? People are not meant to go through this traditional ways no more. So these criminals, crimes that are being committed, and they face the law if they were if apprehended. So, but talking about the spiritual way, there was when we were in the traditional way of living, where certain laws are decreed. Nobody should do this. Nobody, and if you do it spiritually, you will be. I mean, like it is not a joke. Spiritually, you'll be caught. And if you were caught, our police then is like the masquerades that does the police work now. If you are denying and somebody that is a witness that you did this, you will be meant to swear before a day. Today we still do that. There are some disputes that we will be having. There are some things that will happen, and if you are denying, you will be brought to a date to swear. And if you are found guilty, there will be consequences. Actual
When
consequences.
you say
That's
when, when you say masquerade, what is that? Can we use the
a
same term
masquerade
here
is
too?
a masquerade is we reverence it as a spiritual human or a spiritual being. It's not, we don't regard it as a human, but in as much as humans are involved in it, but it has some energy. It carries the energy of a deity. It evoked into it. It goes with a mask. You don't see who is in there because with that mask, it has transformed. It has metamorphosed. If it is a human, it has metamorphosed into spirit. So that masquerade goes. It has people that the people that guides it are not unmasked. So they
Okay.
can go to communities
Yes. The reason why I'm telling you
and
this,
enforce law. So
because this is a part of our culture, a part of our one of our cultural dance is the masquerades, where you're dressed up in pretty shiny, pretty long, like a crown with feathers from the ostrich or what thing name, the peacock, the pretty flowers, pretty feathers, along with a mask over your face, and you have different type with the drums and the dancing, different type of drums and different type of dancing and stuff like that. So it's you see, so when you say mask, I have an understanding with it, and it's all about spirituality. The same way, cultural
yes,
practices with the dancing with the drums.
we call it
So we do have,
mau.
huh? More.
We call it mau.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and you'll find that any activity when it comes to if someone visiting for the first time of high presence or most activities, that would be one of the cultural dance and stuff like that. And then you have the next one, Makojombi, where they dance on stilts, which which is familiarized in Nigeria the same way. I'm not sure if that is a part of your culture where you make wooden stilts and you stand up tall up in the air and dance on them and stuff with the same drums.
Yeah, that is we call it keleke here. On that particular one
Okay.
is keleke.
So you see how close and exact the cultures are, Yahsonn. So that just one
Yes.
cultural dance too, and I would assume the same when it comes to this the fish traps and the pots and setting the same is the same tools and similar with the funnel coming in and out and different ways of making them moving up to these times here and hairstyle
Well,
more or
in
less
the sense
hairstyles.
of
So,
in the
yes.
sense of the masquerades and so on that we practice locally, the thing is, I think it is more for the entertainment, but I don't think the spiritual aspects of it are like well maintained and are actually known either. So I think it is
Mm-hmm.
just these sort of discussions and connections that is
Oh.
going to be important in terms of bridging that gap, because as you're pointing out, some of the things we do, but they are maintained to some extent, but in terms of maybe the origins and the true meanings behind it, might be a bit different. And so that is why we would need to have these sort of discussions, because as you're pointing out, it might be something similar, but with more spiritual meanings behind them versus maybe just being utilized as entertainment.
Yeah, you got it right. In as much as it's an entertainment, I mean, but the foundation is spiritual, and
Yes.
there are one facts. Okay, let me put it this way: there are ones that are for entertainment, strictly for entertainment. There are ones for strictly for spiritual purposes. that is masquerade for you.
Okay, so we have been having this discussion for almost 2 hours now, and I think we would have shared a lot. I think we would have helped to open up the consciousness of many who are listening. And I'm sure just like how we are here listening and could draw similarities and, could realize that by a lot of what this brother here is talking about, we can relate to it. We are also connected to it. How do we approach this now going forward to continue this discussion? For example, you mentioned that you have an organization and you are seeking
Yeah.
also to be able to bridge that gap between the Caribbean and Africa. How do we seek to approach it now that at this point now you're in the Caribbean space, so to speak, because this is a Caribbean platform with a Caribbean organization with a global platform. Because as we speak right now, you're in Nigeria, and Banky is in Nevis, and our technical operator is somewhere in Miami, and so we have a whole global space here, even in this presence. Now, how do we seek to get this Igbo knowledge, this Igbo culture, and some of these practices back into a lot more of our people so that we can identify with it and thus now be able to identify more with themselves, so to speak, because now you have something direct from Africa that you can connect to, that you can hold on to, that maybe was a part of you, but you just never knew how to align it. But now you have an opportunity to make that alignment. How do we connect those people now who are listening and saying, well, but I really need to learn more about this. I really want an opportunity to have further discussions. How do we do this? What would be some of the ideas that you have in mind?
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I've been waiting for this, and it is really the crux of the matter. I lead a movement, a global movement called the Unify Igbos Now. It's a movement, and this Unify Igbos Now has been introduced here in Nigeria because we are the Igbo nation cannot heal without connection with our people, without this
Hold one
connection,
second,
without
one second,
the
please. Once, Banky, pause your mic in the
Mhm.
meantime while you're in talk. Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
so we we are seeking. This is not just about connecting the international. We're also making this because I'll first of all educate you a bit of what's happening here. The Igbo nation, the Igbo identity has been balkanized, and it has been systematic. Why the people shipped from here to that side, to the Caribbeans, and meant to to be forgotten also happened here. Like it's like so the Unified Igbos now has been going sensitizing, and we a lot more progress in this. And that is why we now launched out the Anamacho one name is an Igbo word. I am looking for my brother. Anamacho one name. I am looking for my brother. So what we seek to achieve with you right here is that connection, that bridge, that connection, in fact, to reach out, to start up, to establish this project that will be sensitizing. There are people, there are professors who are working with us. There are teaching magnets, people who's more, who understands, who have more refined information. So we seek to start this sensitization, bringing the people, forming a global alliance through space like this, through social media. The connection, establishing and working with existing bodies that are also into cultural and identity sensitization. We seek to unify with this and start up. Then it's not a political movement, at least for now, in as much as humans are political in nature, but it is strictly a cultural movement, an identity, a cultural movement that seeks to identify and connect with the Caribbean people, the Maroons, the people in St. Kitts, the people everywhere in the Caribbean. We have people who are in high places in the United States who are ready to come in if people who seek, if it comes to people seeking to have a DNA test. Definitely we can we have people who can arrange this. So but let us connect, let us start up with the already established bodies in St. Kitts, already established bodies in Jamaica, already established bodies, connecting with the whole communities. Empower ourselves from here to there, from there to here. I think that will definitely pay off in the long run. This is what we seek. Thank you.
Yes, and I give thanks for that. And Banky, we are going to look to do some follow-up Zoom meetings to seek to, gather up this interest and see if we could have people who are willing to be a part, so we could have a bit of data, so that we can also then look to get involved in some of the initial whatever little courses to learn about the days of the week and all of some of the different practices and so on, if you're really interested in learning more about the culture. And I am thinking, especially that we are on this program, Everything Agriculture, one of the ways that I guess we could seek to work on is, as a people, seek to reintroduce yam, since the value of yam is so high in the Igbo culture. Then that would be one of the ways that we can begin to identify with our people, so to speak, and that might be something that we can do from an
Yeah,
agricultural
but yam is something we use here on a daily basis, Yahsonn. It's just that we don't plant it a lot as before, but way back in the 60s and in the early 70s, that was when Bracha was asking the people to plant yam in navies and they buying, I know he hear stories all the time, 10 cents a pound. One man told me he watched your father stack, they had to stack a whole room full of yam. So yam is something that is not new to us. It's a part of our traditional farming, but we just
right.
don't plant
All
it
I'm saying
enough. Yeah,
Well, all I'm saying is we can use that as a means of seeking to reconnect, because, as he said, what he was saying is, in the Igbo
of
culture,
course.
they have a festival,
Yes.
they have like a yam festival, and so they celebrate it. So I'm just saying, in that effort, now we could use that as a means of identifying with our Igbo people, and at the same time reintroducing the need for us to have yam as a staple, like plant it back like how it used to be in traditional days. So that could be one of the ways. I'm just looking at ways in which we could start to begin to identify and help people to get back to that connection with our people. My brother, I want to give you, very, special thanks for coming on board. We would have had a few difficulties before, and we didn't get to do the show on Tuesday and all that. But, that would have been a more perfect day for the topics. Usually this program is mostly agriculture, but I still found ways of tying the agricultural component into the discussion and so on. But I think that it is timely for us to begin to have these sort of discussions and engagements. And I think with what we are doing in the region in terms of seeking to connect or build that bridge between Africa and the Caribbean, that us having conversations like these and connecting with more different people in Africa and different groups and so on, that it will help us to have a better, understanding, and at the same time hopeful that there'll be people who would have more interest in learning and seeking to reconnect. And we will work to assist in developing that level of interest in the Caribbean by seeking to help to push the organization. So whatever information that you may have, promo material or anything that you would want to share, we would be, welcome to share it, on the platform, and or in the future as we develop and roll out, we can always invite you back, or maybe if you choose not to, but maybe some other member of your organization or something to represent you or represent the cause, then we are open for that in this space. I want you to know that, and I'm really grateful for the time. But what time is it over there in Nigeria right now?
This is 7 minutes after 2 a.m.
Oh wow.
7 minutes after 3 a.m. So I
2
want people to 2 a.m. So I want people to truly understand the effort and the commitment of the brother coming here, to be able to be here with us to do this show. So I really want to let you know that we do appreciate that as well too. And I hope that those who are listening can also seek to share this live with as many as possible. Go to the YouTube platform also and share the YouTube channel, because we are going to be more in the YouTube space, especially seeing that on Facebook, the videos are taken down after about 30 days, whereas on YouTube, they last, until, well, I don't know if they're going to make any changes in the not too distant future as well, but at least for now, that is where it is. So we would look forward to having you in that space. And, Chief, like I said, I really, really thank you. And we will eventually, people, when we do start the Zoom meetings, we're going to come back here and we're going to share the platform with you and share the link. And so that, if you're interested, you can then join in the Zooms, and then we could have further discussions and plans as to how we can, roll out the organization in the Caribbean, and or be a part of helping to, develop the memories of the Igbo culture and some of the practices that we are doing to some extent, but at least we'll have some more meaning and spiritual, connections to a lot of what we do. Banky, is there anything else? It might not necessarily be on the topic specific for tonight, but in terms of agriculture that you would want us to close off with. And Chief, also, I know you say you're not necessarily agriculturally inclined, but as you listen to the discussion, if there's anything from your ends in terms of Africa that you would want to, add in terms of agriculture. But I'll let Banky, if he had anything on the agenda that he wanted to drop in.
Well, yes, on the agricultural side, it's summertime. It's August now, so the heat is out, and on this time, only those who really have that serious interest will be doing much farming. Most others will not be doing much farming around this time, because you got to understand it's extra hot, it's windy, and then you need to use more water and monitor your crop more. And plus, if you don't have on timers and stuff like that, then you could lose your crop. So I'm already having watermelon. I already said some watermelon already started germinating, so looking forward to planting out some by next Friday. But these are just normal conditions for me. I know to work along with this kind of weather and stuff like that, the type of farming practices I do. But in most cultures, agriculture is the basis of everything. So no surprising to the Igbo, which I can understand. Plus, we have a lot in different in cultures here, but that doesn't mean other cultures we don't have the same similarities the same way, because we are very diverse coming from different parts of Africa, which we understand that. So which many here will trace their roots on different parts, whether it's Senegal and different places. So Ghana. So we understand these things. Where we from? We acknowledge that we are from that place. So it's not like we denying it. I mean, we embrace that as a people, and it's important that we connect with people from that and in that side of the land. It's important because we don't speak a native language. You see, we just speak what was given to us by the enslavers, and that's a sad thing. But our people mostly go and study in Taiwan where they speak Mandarin. But I think recently, I know the premier had wanted to put Swahili in the schools and stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's still I was part time, but our education was looking to something like that. But it's about time we have stepped up the plate. But for these things to happen, really, we need to have conscious people leading us. If we're really going in this time, 2025 is like we 50 years, almost 100 years behind time. We should already make that connection already. You know, we so embrace other cultures, the English and the US and this, but we just shun away from where we originally from, and that's a sad thing. And as educated as we said we are, we still shun away from that, and that is very, very sad. It's even when we hear our leaders say they're traveling, they're going over to the Middle East. We're not a name so, but we're the Middle West and the Middle North and the Middle South, and they're supposed to be our finest. They will not acknowledge that those places is our land. You see, but because they're just playing the mind game, they can't even speak truth to themselves. So it just to show you the reality what we got to be dealing with when you have those who leading us will be traveling, going into Africa, but strangers who operate those lands and was given to them because of political reason, they just can't speak of these things. So why would we want people like that be leading us? And all of them doing the same thing. So I got to commend the chief for coming on. I mean, it was a very beautiful show, and from the beginning we can see that. I mean, we have many are basically the same cultural differences. It's just like he's practically living here, because just the things that he speak about, that's us, and we can identify with that because it's something that is practiced here. Because every day there are people who go to people, you understand, to ask for whatever for reasons, and if they feel so. These are normal thing that goes on throughout the Caribbean. So is no denial. It's just to make that connection. Because there are those who want to make that connection. It's not like it's not. There are those who want to make that connection and stuff like that. Whether it's for spiritual, whether to learn the art and all this different stuff. Because there are people who have that interest. So I must commend them for coming on, and at the same time, the hours difference. It's 2 hours past 2 a.m. in the morning, so can understand the commitment that he made to be a part of the show. So got to commend you again. Enough respect for that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Tafari. You've really. I commend this program. And if invited again, definitely I will make the same sacrifice over and over and again. You made mention about
Appreciate it.
the yam. I am encouraging you, since this staple crop, the yam, has been there with you. It's just that maybe the new culture has not really given so much attention to the yam crop. I would advise that you start it up again. Start planting yams. And I think that is a good way for us to reconnect, because right here, the Igbo people is part of our culture to celebrate yam. It is the king of staple crops. It is one of the spiritual foods, as we believe. We celebrate it. It won't be out of place for you one day with a proper invitation, you visit here to see what is happening, to understand this connection firsthand. Yeah, what you have there is what you studied, but what happens to what you can learn, the soil, the people, the interesting places to visit, spiritual sites, and you understand the reason why you must hold on to what you have. It's your heritage. It's not as if maybe you borrowed it. So you can, as an agricultural people, everything agriculture. I commend that you start again planting yams, and you will see the benefits. You see the spiritual growth and what have you. And I think that should be the basis of our connection. The Yam Festival, Iriji, celebrating yam. I think by the grace of Almighty, this will happen, and it will be the connecting factor between our regions. Thank you, and may God Almighty bless all of us.
Yes, my brother. Give thanks, and I like the sound of that. That's something that we could probably really look at as a commemoration of making that link. The Yam Festival. So yeah, we definitely gonna look at that and see how we could incorporate that and really get it to something that we can celebrate not just for the yam, but also as making the reconnection with our Igbo culture. So,
Thank you.
people, I really
Thank
want to
you.
give thanks to all of you who would have tuned in and listened. I want to thank those of you who are actually going to share it as well. And I really, really want to thank you, Chief, for staying up this late to make this contribution. It really speaks of your commitment to this movement. To be up after 2 in the morning in your time, to be here just to speak with us. We really and truly appreciate it. And I'm sure the team here at Real Entertainment Network is also pleased with your presentation and being a part of the show. So we do look forward to having you in the future, and keep us updated
Yes,
with what is going on with the organization, and anything that
very
is there to share and so on. Feel free to share with me, and we will seek to add on the platform according. And as I said, when we get the dates going in terms of the Zoom calls and the Zoom meetings, we would announce them here as well. So give thanks, and we're gonna see if we can get our team to wrap up and take us out of here.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
in the
Banky and company. Show and tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss